these will be given to the city, and I would love it. The goal is to get them the first time hung for the, first ever Veterans Parade happening March 29th.
Upside down.
Upside down. I do it every time. March 29th of 2025. Our veterans from the Vietnam era for everybody to see. Can y'all see it?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is they're gonna have a parade from the VFW down Buckman Street all the way to the American Legion, and we'll honor them with the dinner that night also. So, our goal is 40. I think we're gonna exceed that goal. As I said, I'd like for the city, donate these to the city. They would be your alls to hang the first time, the 29th. I would also hope to see these, if there was a possibility of them being hung on Veterans Day, 4th of July, in between the flags. I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to honor our veterans. So as I said, I'm here today. I'm not asking you for any funds to support these. I'm gonna go out here in our community. We've already gotten some wonderful, women and men's names turned over to us. I've already gotten some people with pictures that's been turned in and all their information, and they're gonna be our first ones. I've got enough to do our first run of 20 that's gonna be coming. So go was 40. And I've also counted all the polls here in Conestoga. And that we are purchasing the brackets with those, okay? So not from the city, but if any of you all are interested, Vietnam era, that means they could have been stateside. They didn't have to be over in the Vietnam area, but Vietnam era, it is $105 with the bracket. That's what I worked these out for, which is a remarkable price also. So if you know someone, I would like to fill all of Conestoga too. The VFW coming down 44 on any pose that we can, and certainly all the way down Buckman. for
That's gonna be
these
more than
events.
40. That's gonna be more than 40.
And I'm all about it.
All right?
I'm all
Which-
about it. But what I need is your all's permission to proceed with this. Just give it to you all and just become a partner with you all again, because I like to see our city and county move forward.
Well, I personally think it's a great idea. Actually, we have a town here in Kentucky. I recently went to a funeral of a Vietnam veteran, and, where was it? I mean, it's not Somerset. Remember I told you where I
Danville.
was going?
Is it Danville?
It's outside of Danville. They had them all through the town.
Aren't they
Right in front
wonderful?
of the cemetery where he was buried too.
Yeah.
There was one. So it was pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'll be
I love
definitely-
it.
Yeah, I'll be getting with you on that, because I've got,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my dad's.
All right, Jim.
Same here.
Okay.
I'm gonna get, yeah,
Yep.
for my dad.
I think it's gonna be great. We obviously is gonna do our first, for everybody here, if you don't know, the Vietnam era never really got a parade. And during the time we had the Vietnam Wall here, we had a number of people just express the fact that, they were just expressing some of their frustration with the years that went by there. During that time, we didn't really recognize the men and women that actually served our country during a really difficult conflict. And so my dad was involved in that. We talked about the different ones were there. And then one gentleman just came up to me. I introduced myself to him. He said, "When are we going to get our parade?" And I said, "You're going to get a parade." So we knew that the date was March 29th of next year is the actual day they recognize Vietnam veterans. It's their day. So we're going to put the parade on that day. And then obviously with decorating and we'd love to have as many local. Obviously, Jennifer, that'd be great. And if you've got somebody, we want to really encourage that, because, we want all. We want all that want to get a banner up. We're going to help them. But it'd be really special to have a time in our city that we have faces that people can recognize that were served in, and we'll be surprised at the number of people in the county that have actually served their country. So we thank
Can
you.
I
all
add
for
to that? We're each taking a block during that day, and we want to make sure that our entire block is packed with people, and that we're holding flags and honoring our veterans as they come through. We should note that one of your city council is one of our Vietnam veteran heirs too, but we won't say anything nice about him if I can help it.
So is this only for Vietnam veterans?
It is.
Okay,
Originally, I wanted to just open it up to whoever, and we started going through how we would censor those out, how we
Right.
could do that. As soon as Courtney was in a meeting that I was at for the Buckman Street businesses, and she mentioned that this parade was happening for our veterans that were in Vietnam, I thought, we're not waiting anymore. If I cannot wait anymore, and I spoke with them and I said, let's just do this. Let's start here, so we don't have to do applications and take certain ones. This is the perfect place to start in my mind, and that's what I went with.
Now, when we.
So this is for all of Bullock County. I mean, we can,
All of
they
Bullock
don't
County.
have to
It
just
is
be,
for, yes, ma'am, it is for all of Bullock County. I
Okay.
don't want to,
Okay.
even though it's going to be within the city limits of Shepherdsville, it's going to be for all of our
well,
Bullock
they all
County
drive through here.
veterans. Correct. I mean, this is the heart
Yes.
of our county.
Yeah, and what we will do is because
Thank
it's gonna be on the other holidays, we'll make sure that obviously, they'll be putting them everywhere. I mean, obviously, I would think that Mount Washington, LJ, Hellview will all have places that they'll have recognition, put flags up. So we'll have it spread out more, but this actually, March the 29th is a Vietnam recognition. That we wanna make sure that all of them know that, so,
I'm writing down everybody I know.
yeah.
Do we need a motion to sponsor them?
I don't, so what's gonna happen is, because what she's doing is donating that, I would say we can do a formal thing there, but basically, these are gonna be on our public poles, and we're gonna do the service it, and it benefits the county, it's not like it's an individual person. So, I don't know that we need anything like that. Catherine, do you see anything need for that? I don't, I mean, from a legal standpoint, we don't, but I mean, if we need to do something ceremonial just to show that we really are supportive of it, I'd like to get a motion that we just approve this project.
Well, then I'd make a motion that we approve this
All right,
project.
I got a Bonnie, and I got Faith the second, and then, Ms. Brenda,
Okay, Mike,
What is the motion for?
No,
motion to
no.
approve.
this project.
Then not to put your picture up there.
It depends on who it's replaced by. No, what is the motion?
To approve
Support
this
the
project.
flags, the
to approve
banners.
this project? Well, after considerable thought, I'll vote yes.
Considerable time.
Okay, Brad,
Is there a camera that is showing my face?
Yeah,
Bonnie,
Yes.
Faith,
yes.
Jennifer.
Yes.
No, council, thank you.
Thank
It's
you
gonna
all
be a-
very
It could be a good
much.
event for us.
Vicki,
Thank
I
you.
have
you.
one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do these need to be paid for by individuals? Is that, I mean, would that help?
If there's an individual that can help, it would certainly, it would be helpful to me because
Okay.
I'm fundraising all of the money.
Okay,
The VFW has graciously already said they have 20 to 30 that they're gonna be turning in, straight from them. Anybody that comes from that VFW post is going to be, covered, is what they told me.
okay,
Now, as far as the American Legion, we already have 10 sponsors from there. We're not as big as they are, but we have 10. I have individuals that have already said that they will cover. Mayor,
Okay.
The Hibbard family, Vera has offered to do some, and some others, and I just can't think of their names off the top of my head. But if I have someone that's not covered, I'm gonna hustle that money. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, you let us know.
I have one that's probably wouldn't be covered, so
Okay.
I'll buy his.
Okay, that'd be great, but see, that's what I'm saying, I'm going to make sure this happens, if I have to go knock on businesses' doors, whatever I have to do, okay?
Well, to get out there now.
Yeah, yeah, I wanted to get it
I don't think it's,
approved
I don't
and
get,
get some of those.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem at all.
it ain't gonna be a problem.
I don't think it's gonna be a problem. All right,
Thank you, Vicki.
More than 40, 50?
all right, it'll be more than
Thank you all.
that. Vicky, thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. All right, well, thank you, council. All right, old business, Ms. Catherine Dozier, we have a second reading on 024-066.
Okay, this is the rezoning ordinance, just a refresher, because it's been a few weeks, for the property there on 158 Cedar Grove Road. It's currently owned by Victor Judd, and he would like to sell it to, I think it's is it Blake and Ship, or Blake and Tree Service? I forgot the name of the tree service, but anyway. So, it's okay. Summary of ordinance 024-066, an ordinance amending the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map as amended, changing the zoning of 1.25 acres more or less located at 158 Cedar Grove Road in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullock County, Kentucky, also known as parcel 037 E0015031 from R4 residential to IL light industrial, sponsored by Councilmember Bonnie Enlow. Summary, Section 1 sets forth that the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission held a public hearing on September 12, 2024, docket number 2024Z-42, and recommended that the Bullock County City zoning order and the Bullock County City zoning map be amended to change the zoning of 1.25 acres located at 158 Cedar Grove Road, also known as parcel 037 E0015031, hereinafter subject property, from R4 residential to IL light industrial with restrictions. Section 2 sets forth that the City Council held a public hearing on October 14, 2024. Section 3 sets forth the following findings of fact: that the current zoning classification R4 residential is inappropriate based on the following findings of fact. 1, there are no properties contiguous or adjacent to the subject property that is zoned R4. 2, the properties contiguous and adjacent to the subject property are zoned as B1 and IL. That the proposed zoning classification of IL light industrial with restrictions is appropriate based on the following findings of fact. 1, there are 2 properties contiguous to the subject property that are zoned B1. 2, there is 1 property contiguous to the subject property that is zoned IL. 3, there are 2 properties adjacent to the subject property that is zoned IL. And 4, there are the area contiguous and adjacent to the subject property on that side of Cedar Grove Road as the subject property is located has developed into a commercial area. Section 4 sets forth that the City Council approves the recommendations of the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission with the following restrictions. A, zoning restrictions set forth in the zoning restriction agreement incorporated into this ordinance and attached as an exhibit thereto. Said restrictions set forth in the agreement are as follows. 1, only B1 use as defined in the official zoning regulations of Bullock County for B1 zoning shall be allowed on the subject property, with the only exception being use of the subject property as a storage area for vehicles and equipment used for a tree service business or a tree nursery. 2, the term tree service business shall mean a business that can trim trees and shrubs, remove dead branches, remove trees, and help trees grow properly. 3, the term tree nursery shall mean a place where trees, shrubs, or plants are grown for transplanting, budding, grafting, or sale. 4, the terms of the zoning restriction agreement are deemed as covenants running with the land, which do touch and concern the land, and are intended to burden the subject property and benefit the city. And 5, the current property owner of the subject property shall take all necessary action to record the zoning restriction agreement in real property records, including but not limited to the subject property's chain of title, in the office of the Bullock County Clerk in a manner required to put future successor and title on record notice of the zoning restriction agreement. B, any regrading of the site must have an engineered stamp plan. C, floodplain compensation to be done at a 1-to-1 ratio. Section 5 sets forth that the Bullock County City Zoning Order and the Bullock County City Zoning Map shall be amended to change the zoning of the subject property from R4 residential to IL light industrial with restrictions as set forth herein. Section 6 sets forth the severability clause. Section 7 sets forth the repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 8 sets forth the publication requirements.
All right. Any comments from the council? I know I think we're all pretty clear on what this guy's gonna do. Motion from Bonnie.
Second it.
Second from Paula. Ms. Brenda.
Mike,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
Paula,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Thank you, council. And I just want to make mention to the fact, I know I mentioned last meeting, Bonnie and Brad, we were talking about this, and I don't really care who wants to be involved with it. I think until the county actually comes up with categories for the zoning, you guys have done a good job of just really picking it apart, making sure we keep them on task. But I do think we need to really look at that, because I don't know how long it'll be before they do it, but I don't want to wait. I would think it's next spring that we have a really good category, and we can kind of dissect. We can even let the county know we're gonna do that, because I want people to know if they go to them first, when you come back here, you need to see what our categories are. If it's gonna be light industrial, what is all in that category? Same thing with general, same thing with B1 and B2. You guys, I mean, I kind of just tagged you two, but I kind of wanted, I know you guys are working on the streets, and we're trying to figure out some other things to do, but if you guys are okay with that, let's look at that and see. Okay. And I think it'll help folks that want to come to the city knowing what's in that category that actually fits what I want to do. And then they're obligated to that piece. And then if something changes, somebody buys it, they gotta come back to us anyway, right? The reason why I think Catherine went to a lot of that is because it's tagged, and she wants it on the deed too, right? Because then everybody knows. It's not this memory thing, I think that's what they did, no, it's right on it. So nobody can change it without having to go through the approval process again. You guys good with that? All right, we'll work on it. I just wanna make sure, I know with the holidays coming up, we're not gonna try to get into too much here before the end of the year, but I definitely wanna make sure that's one of the first things we tag next year. Okay, all right, well, thank you for that. Ms. Catherine? That was all of our old business. Our new business, if you will, please, at 8.1, which is the 024-067.
City of Shepherdsville Ordinance 024067, an ordinance amending the Bullock County City Zoning Order and the Bullock County City Zoning Map as amended, changing the zoning of 0.21 acres more or less located at 1491 Highway 44 East in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullock County, Kentucky, also known as parcel 045SW001001, from R1 Residential to B2 Central Business, sponsored by Councilmember Faith Portman. Summary, Section 1 sets forth that the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 10th, 2024, docket number 2024Z-53, and based on the testimony and evidence presented at that hearing, recommended that the Bullock County City Zoning Order and the Bullock County City Zoning Map be amended to change the zoning of 0.21 acres located at 1491 Highway 44 East, also known as parcel 045SW001001, hereinafter subject property, from R1 Residential to B2 Central Business. Section 2 sets forth the City Council adopts the Bullock County Planning Commission's findings of fact and recommendations set forth in docket number 2024Z-53. Section 3 sets forth that the Bullock County City Zoning Order and the Bullock County City Zoning Map are amended to change the zoning of the subject property from R1 Residential to B2 Central Business. Section 4 sets forth the severability clause. Section 5 sets forth the repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 6 sets forth the publication requirements. Next.
All right. These two are together, so if you guys are okay with that, better read both. Right.
City of Shepherdsville Ordinance 024068, an ordinance amending the Bullock County City Zoning Order and the Bullock County City Zoning Map as amended, changing the zoning of 0.21 acres more or less located at Highway 44 East in the City of Shepherdsville, Bullock County, Kentucky, also known as parcel 045SW001001A, from R1 Residential to B2 Central Business, sponsored by Councilmember Faith Portman. Summary, Section 1 sets forth that the Bullock County Joint Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 10th, 2024, docket number 2024Z-54, and based on the testimony and evidence presented at that hearing, recommended that the Bullock County City Zoning Order and the Bullock County City Zoning Map be amended to change the zoning of 0.21 acres located at Highway 44 East, also known as parcel 045SW001000A, hereinafter subject property, from R1 Residential to B2 Central Business. Sets forth that the City Council adopts the Bullock County Planning Commission's findings of fact and recommendations set forth in docket number 2024Z-54. Section 3 sets forth that the Bullock County City Zoning Order and the Bullock County City Zoning Map are amended to change the zoning of the subject property from R1 Residential to B2 Central Business. Section 4 sets forth the severability clause. Section 5 sets forth the repeal of prior ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Section 6 sets forth the publication requirements.
All right, and I know we brought this up. I just want to make sure for council, if you had any question about that. Again, that's kind of what you're seeing a little bit there on the frontage of both sides of 44. You're going to see some of that for business taking that. The next layer is the residential piece.
Yeah.
When you look at each side of it, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know exactly what
It's really tough. I think, like I said, a lot of times it's for the business, they get great exposure for all the traffic that comes through there.
Well, there's so many businesses up through there now. So.
Yeah, so I don't think that's gonna be I mean, for us, that's pretty much it. It falls into the suit for that. All right. All right, so, all right. Now, this next one here is actually the resolution you guys wanted, and I wanna make sure, that's why I sent you that work, so you'll see it. It's already less than 2 million if you look at, on your, the ARPA money's like 1.48, and that's, the rest of that will come out and be moved out. We have to move that before the year's out. We've been told today, just make, so we're gonna probably, next couple of days, we're gonna move it, and then, all that money will be back into general fund, but it's all gonna be tagged. Like, everything for that building is gonna be in a separate thing, and we're just gonna tag it, so I'll have something for you at the end. Yeah, just, it's the easiest way to do it. They just told us we couldn't leave it as an ARPA fund anymore, because we tagged it with all of our previous expenses. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Miss Catherine?
City of Shepherdsville Resolution 202417, a resolution allocating certain funds to the City Park restroom / splash pad filtration building. Whereas the City Council voted in favor of Resolution 202406 on May 13, 2024, authorizing the use of $2.2 million of the funds provided by the ARP SLFRF allocation to the City Park restroom / pad filtration building. And whereas the city advertised for bids for the construction of the City Park restroom / pad filtration building, and whereas the city did not receive a single bid for the City Park restroom / pad filtration building, and whereas the city therefore had to reallocate the funds provided by ARP SLFRF before December 31st, 2024, and whereas the City Council voted in favor of Resolution 202415 on October 14, 2024, reallocating the use of $2.2 million of the funds provided by ARP SLFRF to various projects as set forth on Exhibit A to Resolution 202415. And whereas the City Council desires to ensure that funds are allocated to the City Park restroom splash pad filtration building, now therefore be it resolved by the City Council this 25th day of November 2024 as follows. 1. The funds initially allocated to pay those portions of expenses that were subsequently paid by funds provided by ARP SLFRF as set forth on Exhibit A to Resolution 202415 shall be reallocated to the City Park restroom splash pad filtration building. 2. This resolution will become effective upon passage.
All right. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. Somebody
No.
got it?
Nope. What you got, Mike?
Okay, this, the resolution 024-15, this is where we received all the places that this 2.2 million will be allocated. These are, if I'm correct, these are accounts that have already been paid out of the general fund. So we're taking the $2.2 million, reimbursing the general fund, the city, and since these are in obviously different departments and everything, and since we reallocated 2.2 million and we have 2.788 million, where did the money go back to? Did it go back into the general fund in each department, on each line that it came from?
No, so what they did is, first of all, the 2.7 was to make sure we had plenty of things to allocate the 2.2. That's,
Right.
but the next piece in that, what they did is, if you have, we have a fund, it's ARPA, it's just that money. What we're doing is we're taking that and just moving that money over to general fund. All the general fund expenditures come out of that. Everything that we tagged was in general expense, right? So everything we tagged with it, now all that money's moving back into general fund. What we've been with the resolution is, we just made sure it went back. It was gonna be for the building anyway. That's all we were doing. We just had to trade it because nobody bid on the building. Right. So we just,
You are using the ARPA funds, 2.2 million, use all of that in different categories here.
on that, yes,
this,
yes, yes,
So
but it's
that
all
two-
general fund.
Right, that 2.2 million will be put back into these funds. Some of them already been spent, some of them through December. Okay, that would have come out of the general fund.
Yes, okay, so think of it like this, Mike, if you have ARPA money here, and we haven't used it yet, because we didn't have a bid for it, it's sitting right here. We took the money, we took all these expenses previous done, we were able to tag them and said, oh, we're not using ARPA money, so we had to tell the federal government, hey, we're using it for these expenses, and that's all been approved by Jennifer Wilson for KIPTA.
Correct.
Since she's
I have
approved
no
it, that
problem
means
with
that
that.
the money that's still sitting here that has not been spent is now just, it's money, it's not even ARPA money now. It's just money sitting in an account.
It's
Yes,
general
Joe.
fund money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This ARPA money was allocated for the sewer.
No.
Yes, it was.
No, ma'am, it wasn't. No, ma'am, it wasn't. I don't know what, this is ARPA money that was actually dedicated for, they did the salary increase. Excuse me? It's sitting in an account when they got all the allocated money back about 4 years ago, when they actually got the original money.
Well,
I don't,
I'll go back through and look at my notes.
yes, ma'am. Well, just come by the office. I'd be more than glad to look at it.
The notes I had was the 200, or the 2 point some million went into the sewer.
No, that's not true.
To redo that.
No, that's not true.
It was bid on.
Do you have
and it came
documentation?
back
Okay, do you have
to
documentation?
990,000.
No, I don't know.
So,
I don't know
I
if that's,
know the lady that was here the last time said you could move it, but, I don't understand why it's being moved from here to here to here.
okay, well, I've just told you, it's not sewer money, okay? We wouldn't be able to do that. Sewer money is itself allocated. It's in general fund, and because we made the comment to you guys that we didn't get a bid on that ARPA, we could not use, we couldn't tag that ARPA money for that building. So all we did was, because we were allowed to through Jennifer Wilson and KIPTA, we were able to use previous expenses to tag them with the ARPA money, and now we still get to use the money that was there. Now it becomes general fund money, and now we're using it to build the building.
So how did
use it before the end
How did you know to tag these, expenditures in the general fund before you even knew you could move the money or do whatever with it?
In our last meeting, we went over it detail by detail. We had Jennifer Wilson here, and she went over the whole.
But you already moved it.
Ma'am, no, we didn't. No, Joe. Wait, hey, I just, if you wanna come to my office with documentation, I'd be more than glad to talk to you.
Okay, because I wanna see the, finances that you gave the, city council.
You come to my
That
office.
is a matter of public record.
Well, just come to my office. I'll be more,
And why you don't put it out back here, I don't know.
Joe, it's really okay. We'll be more than glad to meet with you tomorrow. Just come by my office.
Something doesn't add up.
It's okay. I mean, we have people from KIPTA that are actually involved in this ARPA. They're the ones that are doing all this. These are the experts,
I
okay?
understand.
Yeah, it's nothing that we did up here in this council and myself. It's okay.
The council did pass a
Maybe.
resolution.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
gonna
wait.
say, maybe if we clarify that, there was $2.2 million. It did not go to the sewer department. It went to the stormwater line.
Right, I meant.
Correct.
Excuse me.
Okay.
So there's,
That's different money. That's not the same money.
No,
No.
no, Jose, no, it was the ARPA money.
On the original one.
Yes, so it was initially for the stormwater. The reason that the council then decided to try to use it for the restroom is because they're getting grants and loans
Yes.
to do the stormwater. So we did not need to use ARPA money for
So
that.
you said sewer, but
Because
yes.
we're getting, because we're getting grants and, a loan for the stormwater and for the sewer, both, they didn't need to use their ARPA money. So then they decided, okay, well, let's send a resolution to spend it for this restroom / pad building. The problem is that it has to be spent by the end of this year. When we did not get any bids for that construction, we couldn't spend the money because we have to have bids over 40, it was over 40,000. So what Jennifer with KIPTA did, who is an expert in how to spend this, she said, let me look at it. She worked with the mayor and with Tanya at the time and said, these are the best expenses to use because these I know will not have an issue and they will comply with the requirements. So that's the history of
Yeah,
why
you-
that changed.
Yeah, when you said
Does
sewer,
that
I
make
was
a
like,
little bit more
it's general
sense?
fund money.
I meant stormwater.
No, I got you now.
But, and that's okay, because I'm like Bonnie, what she said the last time, this part needs to be finished. It was promised several years ago and it hasn't, and I agree with that. But what I don't agree with is you all not telling your constituents just what you explained tonight, because then that gives me something to
We did.
say,
We've done
well,
that. We've done that
we
in
did.
mean We've done
No,
that.
you haven't.
Yeah, okay. I've got,
I mean,
everybody
every time
nodding.
that a resolution was read,
It went through and itemized everything,
And
yeah.
in fact, I specifically, for clarity, ended up, repealing, because the 2025-05 actually repealed that resolution that I'm telling you about the stormwater. I
Right.
actually repealed it even though we didn't need to, just for the paper trail. So there was a discussion about why they were switching it from the stormwater to the restroom filtration building. And then several meetings ago, there was a conversation about when they voted on the resolution to reallocate the money to to all the general funds. There was a long discussion, and Jennifer was here, all explaining that. So, I guess, Joe, you're right, we could have gone back and given like a more thorough, comprehensive, hey, this all relates to, but I guess because they all knew what resolution it related to and understood what was happening.
But they're not the only ones that need to know, because they don't say anything. You ask them, and one response I get from a council member is, go through the city. That is their job. If I, as a constituent, ask one of the council members, or several of the council members, I need for you to check this out. The response should have been is, I'll check it out and get back with you. But the response was, you gotta go through the city.
Well,
No, that's not the way it works.
Ms. Kaufman, you've never asked me anything. If you'd
I didn't
asked me,
say you. I
it,
said one
Okay,
person.
okay.
She asked
Well,
me.
okay.
How about that? You
You.
asked me, and I told you, give me the address and I'll send
No,
Ray
that's not
Page.
what you said.
Yes,
Okay,
it was.
okay,
That's
stop,
exactly
stop,
what it was.
stop, right now, please. Joe, I told you, I made an offer, you can come, more than come to the office tomorrow, I'll be more than glad to give you detail on this, get you started.
Here's the thing, the council doesn't work for you. They work for me and their constituents.
Joe,
So when I ask a question, I expect.
well, Joe, if you'd asked me, I would have explained all this to you.
Well, you weren't here yet when I talked to her, because it was before a meeting.
And it wasn't
Okay.
about this thread.
No, it wasn't about this.
It was,
Okay.
it was about something else.
All right.
What I
So
said.
I don't mind
Right.
calling any of you,
No.
but I don't wanna get a response like I got
Joe, it's okay. I think the biggest thing we need to do right now is we're
She's attacking me. 'cause
Okay,
she's soft.
so let's do this. If you,
Excuse me?
you're more than what, we're done. Right now,
But yes, if,
Joe,
if
you're
you
more than
want
welcome by the
to do
office.
Like Catherine said, give a more explanation, because you all have already talked about it,
it's okay.
and that is fine. But me as a constituent and other constituents need to know the background of why it was put in here, why it was put in here, and where it's going to. What Jennifer said from KIPTA, I kind of understood some of it, but not all of it.
Okay.
So, you know, as a council.
We're doing it
you
in
should
public meetings.
explain-
Again, we're doing it in public meetings and we're doing a line by line.
You're not giving.
If you don't,
detailed
again, we
explanations.
gave all the information, it had, all the council had it. The biggest thing for you is, if you want more detail, you're more than welcome to it. You're more than
And
welcome
to
to it,
be
Joe.
honest with you, most council, I've been to other council meetings, other cities, and they do not do that either.
I'm not talking
People
about
have to
other
ask.
cities.
The
I'm
county
talking
don't
about
even-
Shepherd's
Okay,
Bush.
Joe,
The
it's
county
fair.
don't even do it.
Joe, you have to realize, especially with ARPA, that this is stretched out over
I
many
understand
years. And a lot of this was existed prior to some of us even.
After she explained it, I get it.
Okay.
But that should have been explained at the very beginning, then I wouldn't have had any questions.
Okay.
And that's the council's
Well,
job.
And
Joe,
honestly.
it was explained, when we repealed the initial one, the stormwater, it was discussed at this meeting why that was being done. What happened is, then when we did the second one, we didn't go back and discuss the two previous ones. You're right, we didn't do the whole comprehensive. But no, when it was, we had a whole discussion in an open meeting
I might have
about
not been
that.
here, I don't know.
Okay,
So-
again, that could be, that's why I said offering you to come, I started this whole conversation with you coming to the office. If you missed something in any of these detailed conversations we've had up here with the public, that's okay. We don't mind anybody coming to the office and getting it, so be careful. Like I said,
And I understand that.
again,
But
no
my
one-
concern is the council, because
Well,
they
They're
are
just
the
fine.
Hey,
ones
Joe.
that were elected for the constituents.
Hey, Joe,
And
honestly,
if I have a question, I'd like for them to check it out and get back with me, that's all I ask.
Hey, Joe,
But that's not the
honestly-
conversation I got.
Well, you
So
should ask
honestly,
other
this-
council members too.
Well, next time I will.
Because
I'll
I
ask
usually
everybody
check,
else
and
instead of her.
Jennifer asked me if I would check it, and I did go look. I did go over there.
I'm just gonna tell you, and I'm gonna say this, we're more than willing to answer your questions up here. There's not a person up here that I wouldn't believe would try to research or call me or get with somebody else. So the biggest thing is,
That's fine.
that's what that should have been about.
But
If,
it was
it doesn't,
right before a meeting.
it's okay.
He wasn't here, and I asked her when she
No,
said
you didn't
that.
ask
Okay,
her. You approached
okay.
me very angrily.
Okay,
Oh, no, I
okay,
didn't.
Yes,
okay,
you
okay,
did.
this is not gonna be personal, because we're not doing it at this meeting,
Yeah.
okay?
Well,
Okay, that's it,
then
that's
ask
enough.
her not to
You're fine,
ever
Jennifer.
speak to me
Thank you,
again.
sir.
I
Yeah,
won't
you're
ask
welcome.
her anything.
Okay, that's fine. Joe,
I asked
Joe,
her
we're not
not-
doing, we're not having meetings like this. I don't know what part of this meeting I've been trying to tell you. We're gonna be professional up here. We're more than glad to help you, but we're not going to have a meeting like this.
Okay,
What
but
part,
they
are we
need to
good
be
now?
professional
Are we
too.
good now? Again, we can deal with it. Again, that's enough. Any more, that's gonna be enough. All right, anyway, with that said, resolution on here,
If I,
Mike, finish your,
just
yes.
for my clarification.
Yeah.
The 2.2 million was originally put in for the sewer project.
Stormwater.
Not the sewer, the stormwater.
Stormwater.
Okay,
Okay?
and we moved it.
Then when we found out we could do that for a lot less than 2.2 million, rather than do it for the 900,000 and then lose our timeline and end up giving about $1.3 million back, if they wanted it, we moved it to the
Building.
splash pad. Okay?
Yes.
It was to the splash pad until this came up. Okay,
It was
No, it
until we did
wasn't
not
that.
get a bid.
Did get a bid on the building,
Okay,
not
so-
that.
all right, so-
That's what caused the
So
hiccup.
you didn't get a bid, all right, so at that point, you decided to move the 2.2 million to pay these expenses, and the splash pad lost that 2.2 million, correct, at that time?
Yes, based on what
Then-
Jennifer from KIPTA advised.
Okay, so now, the monies that were either already spent or would be designated to be spent out of the general fund or out of each department has gone back into either those departments or the general fund, which, to each department?
They just go back into the general fund. Okay, they go back into the
Well, I
actual,
mean,
we don't have a
Okay,
different
wait a
account for
minute.
every department.
Are you gonna pay Hagerman the $723,000?
All that's in the, all that stuff's on there,
I
yes.
just asked.
If it's on that list, Mike, it's going to be part of the,
It's gonna be part of it, but what part? Which ones, there's more,
Okay,
there's
so
more
Jennifer-
that could be paid than what we have money to pay with.
okay, but we're only, she did the 2 point, did she explain to you the 2.7 was just to make sure in case something fell through, that we saw
So
other
we
things
can't-
that she could give?
I think I know
cannot
what
fund
he's
all
trying,
of it.
he's,
Yeah.
there's 2.7 million on the list.
Right.
We're not gonna know those final
No,
numbers
so she's
until-
doing, she says right now that she's doing all that, and as long as she
Okay.
has she hits the cutoff on that, she's not gonna worry about any of those
So
things.
she's gonna cut off, she's gonna
She said that
determine
all that
which-
money's gonna go
where
right
this
back into
goes
the general
back.
fund.
So,
Yep.
I'm just asking, since these come out of different departments,
Uh-huh.
and some of that has already been paid,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to recoup that money with ARPA funds, okay? And I was just wondering if that had already been decided, which ones of these,
No, it's not, it's just a lump sum back into general fund.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I think
So,
that's
all
what,
right,
I know
so
what you.
now that we're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
that freed up the 2.2 million to go back to the splash pad
To the building, yes.
from the general fund money you're saving,
Yeah, it's,
Yes.
so yes,
right?
yes.
So it's coming out, now the splash pad is going to get $2.2 million out of the general fund.
Well, the
that
ARPA,
these have
the
already-
ARPA money now, its status was ARPA money, now it's not ARPA money anymore, it's just general fund money. Okay,
Well,
remember-
Just
for
transfer
these
There's no more
specific
ARPA
reasons.
money.
There's no
That
more
word
ARPA
needs to
money.
go away.
It's gone.
Yeah.
ARPA money's gone.
Right, for these specific reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So now we have the 2.2 million that has either already been spent or will be spent, that's going back into the general fund.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're allocating that money, whatever it comes out to be, it'll be 2.2 million,
Mm-hmm.
goes back to the splash pad.
That's right, that's correct.
And I think at one point we asked, is it actually gonna cost $2.2 million to take care of the splash pad?
Well, that was the number we had actually for it.
I know.
That was the bid, I mean, that was originally what we,
But it doesn't
when we had,
have
it- when we had,
Right.
when we actually put the numbers laying it all out, so I'm,
And that's the one in the park.
yeah, so it's, I mean, I'm still waiting for the question.
Is that splash pad in the park gonna actually cost 2.2 million?
That's what it was,
But it-
that's what it was designed for, 2.2.
Well, I
We don't know,
this-
Mike, until
and-
we
We
get
don't
bids,
know
we
until we
don't
start,
know.
yeah, we don't know until we,
Okay, well, so in 2019, Miles gave $350,000 to do that.
okay, it's not the splash pad, it's the building.
The filtration.
Okay, this is the filtration building was.
Splash pad and the
No,
filtration?
no,
No.
it's
It's not the
it's not the
splash
splash
pad
pad
at
at all. I kept saying building every time you said splash pad. It's the building that has the filtration in there for the splash pad, restrooms and office space. Yeah. Yeah, it has nothing to do with splash pad. That's
Other
a,
than being the filtration.
It's, I know it may sound, you may have a grip on this, and I may not, but sometimes it makes me feel like I ought to put 3 cups up here and see if we can find out where the 2.2 million is under. Quite
the
frankly.
money's going right back into
Okay.
doing it. Okay, I mean,
Well, I mean, it's going back in general fund,
because we,
Right.
we tagged the ARPA money.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
this
But
particular.
we didn't lose the 2.2.
We haven't-
It's been tagged a lot, so.
I've been, with Mike, all respect you, we've been really
Yeah.
trying to explain to you, all we did is that because of the short time of getting that bid back out for that building, we were
Yeah.
never gonna make the deadline on tagging that money. We went to KIPTA, KIPTA gave a suggestion, take your already expenses that you have,
Right.
and then we don't have to worry about it next year, because originally, if you all remember from a council standpoint, we were gonna have to tag the money for it, and then wait till it gets billed, then we had to be obligated for it to build. Well, KIPTA gave us an out
Yeah. And
by
so-
letting us tag the 2 million now, and then we're done with it. And now we're done with it, Mike, and now the money that was actually tagged in an account, in a bank account, West Banco, is now general fund money. We move it over, and we spend it right back on that building that we wanted to get.
So we don't have a timeline on that, though.
We don't have any more
We can
deadlines.
rebid.
Well, we have to rebid it. We have to rebid it,
We can
because we
rebid
didn't
it.
get a bid.
And we're not in our
All right,
crunch.
but this, okay, can I get just one thing? When the Shell game, I'm really confused by
Yeah,
a Shell game. What-
sometimes, well, you take the 2.2 million, you put it here, you take it out of there, you put it over here, you take it out there, you put it here, then you put it back to where it started.
Well, and again, that's a
So-
perception. You know what? That's your
A little-
perception.
a
Okay,
little bit,
okay. All right, well, we're good with that. All right. Any other questions? Bonnie?
Well, I can't get that last 20 minutes back.
No,
All right, and, Just-
I'll
all
make
right.
a motion, we approve this.
All right.
And
make
I
a-
second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jennifer. Thank you, Ms. Faith.
Okay.
All right, so, all right, Ms. Brenda?
Brad,
Yes.
Mike,
No?
Paula,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes,
Jennifer,
Yes.
Bonnie.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Councilman. All right, so, our last but not least, we have one member that was on our civil service that's actually finishing a 10-year term. That was pretty awesome that she's been here this long. But obviously, as we continue to move on and changing out folks, we had an opportunity, and I did actually reach out to Paula after the election and said, you know, obviously, she's been involved with the beautification and being involved with the city, that we'd like to see her stay involved. We've got good people that help us out, and that's why she's on the agenda, that we'd like to approve her to be a new civil service member, if you guys would at least be thinking that. It's a hot seat. You got 5 people up here looking at you. All right, so, but I mean, I just wanted you to know that we want to find somebody that we feel like is going to be honest on that council, to always think about the city and obviously think about the employee that's coming through there. That's the purpose of civil service. You served on that, did you not, sir? All right, so, but to know that, I just want anybody that becomes in that position is somebody that's going to have a good outlook on what's going on with that. Don't come in with prejudice, because again, it'd be sometimes the city didn't do it right? We've seen that in the past. But we also see that sometimes the employee, maybe the person that needs to be held accountable. But we want that decision not made until you get all the facts. And so I reached out to her, and as disclosure, I just said, hey, if you're interested, you know, obviously you'd like to stay involved in the city, and I did actually call her right after the election, probably a couple days after, and said, hey. So she said that she was interested. So I don't know if you want to grill her right now or take her in the back. But no, all kidding aside, I just want you to know that I would like to nominate her to be a member of the civil service. But obviously, we'd like to see if you guys would, any questions you have for her, and get some thoughts here, and then let me know what you think.
Civil service isn't easy.
Is this,
well, she started January.
She will. Actually, she has to get, so her term is up December the 9th. So we're gonna try to get her, sworn in, and then she'll start it in January with their meeting. So if you guys will approve her, so. Any thoughts, any questions?
Do we need to approve it?
Yeah, I do need you to approve her, but I need a motion to approve her.
She can't swear in until January.
Yeah.
Yes,
She cannot hold
Right.
Yeah.
two swears.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we gotta do it in January. We're gonna do it like, I'm not really sure. It's like I don't know when their first meeting is. I gotta go back and look at the date.
And to start in January.
I'll make a motion that we
so is
accept
this,
her.
excuse me,
Yeah.
is this an addition or a replacement?
She's a replacement. Yeah, we have 3. We have 3 on that council. There's talk about trying to get to 5. I mean, that's something that hasn't happened out here in the city for a while. We're gonna continue to look at it. If we have people that wanna do it, that's obviously the thing you want, people that will make the time to be involved. But it's hard to find good people. But anyway, with that said, we do actually have, we're gonna, so she has to be sworn in before she takes the first meeting. We'll figure that out, but I make sure, yeah, there's no crossing over of that.
She has to be
When's the
sworn
first
in.
meeting? Is it the second Tuesday of the month?
First Tuesday of the month, isn't it?
No,
No, it's not the first.
Second?
That's what I thought.
second.
All right,
Should be sworn in before then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to take care of it.
Oh, yeah, because
Right.
January 1st is a Wednesday.
No,
Oh, I
so Ms.
already
Jennifer
did.
makes the motion. I appreciate that.
Oh,
Thank
he
you, Ms.
didn't
Jennifer.
hear me.
Oh,
Oh, Faith made the motion.
sorry,
Second.
do a second, all right? Take a second on it. All right.
So who's she replacing?
Miss
Debbie
Debbie Hawkins
Hawkins.
was on the 10 years. I think it's very commendable that she did that for 10 years. Well, that was her term is up and I just didn't,
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to put some new people on there.
Okay. Bonnie,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Paula.
Can she vote?
Oh, she can't. You're abstaining.
Just say yes. Just say yes.
She'll abstain.
Sorry. Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
and Brad.
Yes.
Council, thank you very much. And, man, we were really working good on time. And then,
Abstaining. Had I called her.
no, it's all right. No executive session. Wait a minute, I did hit,
Wait, you want to talk about those ordinances?
oh, yes, really quick. I wanted you to have it. There's some discussion, and obviously, as we continue to look at the city, and just get some feedback from you guys. We had an ordinance, and then there was a change made on fencing all the trash receptacles. Well, I'm just gonna tell you, this is just my opinion, but I want you, obviously, gotta have your approval for when we do it. But I want you to think about it, because every place in our city that we have a dumpster area, we should have a fence on it. I don't care where it's at. That's obviously, we're looking at redoing the park. We're gonna take it and actually move it, a bigger one down there and fence it in. because it should be fenced in. You know, you shouldn't have dumpsters, again, for aesthetics, and then obviously safety of kids. Again, you know, those are two things that are very important to us. So I wanted the council to think about that, because we have one that we will have to actually amend, is that right, to bring it back to them, or are we just gonna just pull that out, right? Was it six? Six?
We would amend it by just redacting it.
Redacting is all we're gonna do. So anyway, I want the council just to see it
Unless they
today.
wanted to do
But
something
did you
more.
have something that you wanna add to this?
So is there very many in the city that don't have fencing?
Well,
Yes.
yes,
There is?
yes, and,
Yes.
yep, and we,
7 counties doesn't have one.
yeah, yeah.
Stuff on Cedar Grove I know doesn't
Yeah.
have them.
So we need to talk to the garbage man too, because there needs to be, I know they have trouble. My son-in-law's a garbage man, he used to do that. Backing in
They
and,
need to be,
they need to be wide enough and,
We can make sure all the dimensions are right. I just think
exactly,
from,
so they can pull in.
right, and the thing is, they have to get in and out of their trucks and open the gates.
Well, that would be up to that business owner or individual, whoever's gotta build the fence, to reach out to the garbage and make it comply. We
I'm
don't,
sure the garbage company has rules on that.
Right.
already.
They
yeah,
do.
we'll just go right to
Our
public.
only
So-
rule is that it has to be 6 feet.
right. And so the rest of it, they would reach out. I don't know that the city has to really be involved in.
I'll reach out to Kenny too and talk to him and see what he says,
Just find
you
out.
know.
I think the biggest thing is aesthetically, we've got, I mean, I don't think we should have, just my opinion, I don't think we should have exceptions to having fences around it.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, because, so the original one just said basically all. If you had a dumpster, it had to be fenced. And then several months later, I mean, like, the first one was in July, the second one was in October, and the one in October said, made the exception, that basically only required a fence around a dumpster if it, adjoined or was next to basically a residential property. Which technically means that, you know, unless there's a health code or something like that, your Wendy's, your Taco Bell could just have
Yeah.
dumpsters with no, you know,
Right.
fencing. I don't know if there's other regulations that would require them to, but with respect to the city, there wouldn't be any. And so some of these apartment complexes, I know have been an issue. That's one of the
Right.
things that, code enforcement brought to my attention, and they were asking about, you know, which ordinance to make sure. And so if the apartment doesn't, you know, adjoin a residential, then arguably they don't have to have one.
So do they have to have gates on them? Because in the apartment buildings, well, I guess.
You gotta
people
have
can
gates on
open
them, that's how you,
Yeah.
you can't
Yeah.
take them over the top of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a question about it too.
Yeah.
That's something that we didn't address in those. It is the dumping around the dumpsters. Especially like at the apartments and stuff. There seems to be a problem with that. And we need to address that somehow.
So what we need to do is identify, first of all, those, and then decide if they have the capacity they need to have for the
That's what I
property.
mean.
Yeah, that's the issue, because I mean, again, obviously, if it's overflowing, then obviously, that's the responsibility of the people that own the apartment complex, to make sure they make the right accommodations for the residents. So let's do this, I can get with Ray and Jeff when we get through the holidays here, and make sure that but I definitely wanna make sure that you guys know my opinion about it, is that we've gotta resolve that.
And Bonnie, if you want, if we amend this ordinance, we can address that in this ordinance, by requiring that all trash has to be able to be in the dumpster, and if it's not, then basically that's a violation, and then that would give,
Code enforcement.
Ray and Jeff
Right, yeah.
the ability to cite them, and then we could start really.
And they
making
should
some
already
law.
know who the problem ones are.
They know.
They do.
To
Yeah.
look at who needs bigger
Well, and
dumpsters.
I believe now Republic is taking pictures. I know the residentials they are. They're taking pictures if people have trash sitting beside their cans, because garbage men aren't gonna get out of the truck. They're not getting out of the truck. If you set it beside anything beside it, they're not gonna get out and pick it up unless you call in ahead. You know.
Well, I think
So
we just,
I wonder if they're doing that with the dumpsters, and that's a question I'll ask Kenny too, if they're pictures. Cause they take pictures and they get paid to do that. Like if they take a picture and send it in, they get paid so much money, and then Republic contacts the homeowner or whatever, and no, you know, you're gonna get fined for this, whatever, so.
So, I guess reach out to me, let me know if you wanna, or you can tell me now if you wanna maybe move forward, I can start trying to work on something and.
you guys okay with that?
That's great, I'll sponsor.
Okay, so,
Okay.
Bonnie, and are you wanting to remove the exception for the
Yes.
fence, so
Yeah.
make it back, okay, All right, so I'll work on that. I'll work on some language about
The-
the trash needing to be inside the dumpster. And if not a violation, we'll tweak that. So, and I don't know if we'll have a first reading at the next meeting, or we might just need to pass it for the
Yeah,
first.
January.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Might be better just for cohesiveness. Okay.
I just want to let you know, Board of Adjustments, Dwayne said that we had 2 cases for the city. One was the storage units on West Blue Lick. Their attorney has reported they have settled the drainage problems with the development plan. Then ask again for a table until we meet all the neighbors again. So they're working on that one. And the second was on Cedar Grove Road. Cedar at a variance was needed. Line the new home up with the rest of them on that street. It was approved. I didn't get a chance to read it earlier today, and okay, that's a little different, but I'll get with Dwayne, I'll make sure that for our next meeting we have for December
I guess it
meeting.
would have set this house at a different,
Yeah.
either further back or
Yeah.
too close up, and it would have looked weird, so it wouldn't be like even.
Making sure that,
I do not know where that's, he said Cedar
It says
Grove Road.
Cedar Grove Road.
I
no,
don't
that,
know, I'm just-
the
based
Cedar
on
Grove is
terminology.
the house, and the,
Yeah.
Blue Lick is the storage. All right, so I'll get clarity on that, as I saw it, then I'll just reach out to him tomorrow, I'll make sure I get something to you guys. All right,
Did we ever hear what happened at the planning commission with the variance?
Nobody was there.
Jennifer went.
did you go, Jennifer? Did you go too?
Are you talking about the variance for the property next door to me?
Yeah.
They keep pushing
No,
that
I'm
out.
talking about when Jeremy came and talked about somebody wanted a variance, I guess, for the landscaping.
Oh, yeah, in the,
Yeah.
And
Oh, that
industrial.
was planning and
Oh.
zoning, I wasn't there.
Yes, and so I didn't know if anybody,
They tabled it?
Yeah, they
Okay.
tabled it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I talked to Charlie afterwards,
Uh-huh.
and his words was, it doesn't matter, it's not coming back to the city anyway, because I'll be the one to approve it or not. That's what he said.
That's why we did our own stuff.
You don't wanna get me started right there right now. You don't wanna get me
I mean,
started.
I'm just repeating what.
No, you're fine.
Well,
No,
ask-
no, that's okay,
ask
that's
Charlie,
okay.
you don't have to
That,
worry
there's
about
nothing wrong with that.
honey, we'll be best buds starting in January.
Yeah, yeah, we'll just let you
We
bring the dogs
communicate a
over.
lot, you and Brad.
Just- all right. All right.
Brad's gonna love us, buddy.
Sounds like
I can see the
Lord.
glee on his face right now. That's all right, that's all right. Some more friends and more friends. All right, department heads, Mr. Jody Craig, would you come up here and spend a couple minutes with us? Going to get a truck. Going to get a truck. Push that. Good, man.
We just been extremely busy.
Yeah.
It's, you know, winding down the end of the year, doing a lot of training. Guys and gals are going out of town doing training. Next week I'll be out of town picking up doing the final inspection on our fire truck up at Wisconsin. Just light up Shepherdville. We're ready.
And then what was on the 22nd, all the fire trucks at,
Yes, sir.
yep,
Over at Miss Vicky's not here. So
yep,
Over at
yep, at the conference center, they have them in that. It's really cool. If you've been to it, it's pretty cool with all the fire trucks there. It's gonna be great for Christmas. I do want to, just so you guys know, I mean, there are busy times and there are busy times. Will you tell me about Friday night real quick?
Sir?
Tell me what happened Friday night?
Oh, we had 12 runs between 4 p.m. and midnight, multiple vehicle accident on 65, cut out a lot of kids under 7. So very difficult accident. The guys and gals were real busy this weekend.
Yeah,
so-
it's a shame because in that instance, not so much I was gonna give the detail about that, but the tractor trailer ran over the car.
Yeah.
So again, really, again, just to understand the importance of obviously both departments, but more importantly, interstate traffic, man.
It's great.
It's a lot out there. So obviously,
We
people
were
keep in
on,
mind,
we were on
be safe
65.
when you're out.
Yeah, 4 times. But 4 times within that night, 4 times within like 3 hours.
It's crazy stuff. But anyway, appreciate what you do. I thought they would need to hear about Friday night. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it, Chief. You can leave that on. If you guys have any questions for him, anything else?
Thank you
right.
all. Have a
All
happy
right.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving,
You
sir.
too.
All right, Mr. Steve Schmidt, come on up here.
Come on down. Up. He's funny.
I miss when they shared space.
I know.
I separate them. I separate them.
Did you break
I had to break them up. They were
Just-
troublemakers.
A few things to start off with is, obviously we've got Light Up Shepherdsville coming up. Be prepared for a few delays. We'll be posting that on the website of what the direction, the parade, and where we're gonna try to do things. And I think it worked out pretty well last year. I think they had a lot more crowds last year, so I would expect the same thing this year. one of the things, we've been doing a lot more, training, and we're getting into that, I spoke to y'all, I think, 2 meetings ago. We're getting ready to, next month, go into that IT simulator, with the basic computer rated. I'd like to invite all of you again this year, if y'all wanna come by there, we'll make time to have everybody, and it'll be a new set of scenarios and everything, and let y'all run through that, and, just get an idea of what some of the training the officers go through. And I think we're gonna be sharing that with the fire department also this year, and have them come over. The other one, and not to, we didn't get to discuss this about the alarm ordinance, if possibly we could push that maybe back into January. I think me and Chief, our point of view is, I think, I don't know that we need a registry, that could be, too expansive, but I do think there needs to be something in there about fee schedule, because they will send somebody out and they will know who's consistently doing it. Same way with us, if we have a problem with the alarm, we'll know, and then that's when you can figure out what the alarm system and who it is, because people change alarm systems so much, to try to keep that database up to date would be kind of labor intensive. So I think that's something we'll talk to y'all later about too, but if we haven't forgotten about it, we're still talking, just if we could maybe push that off till January and do something with that. The other thing, and this has been all over the Facebook and all that, it's about this pursuit policy, and some stuff over this weekend. And, you know, I'd just like to share with you all, so that when you do get tagged into the accounts, is that we have a pursuit policy. Every agency in Kentucky is required to have one. We have one. We have to submit it to Department of Criminal Justice Training. They keep a database of everybody in the state. We've had one before I got here. We have one now. We'll have one after I leave. You know, for people that say, I think they're doing a disservice when they get out there and say that we don't have a pursuit policy, because then that's gonna embolden more people, think we don't pursue for anything. We do. There's nearly 20 things that we will pursue for, a few more things depending on the scenarios, but ultimately from this weekend, you know, from Mount Washington that came out to Shepherdsville, based on the information they had, based on what was going on at the time, the acting sergeant decided to terminate the pursuit, and I will stand behind that decision all the time. He made the right decision based on what he had, and that's according to our policy. And also, there's a lot of other things, conditions, numbers, everything else of what we can do going forward to try to catch the people. So, you know, while it's blown up and there's a lot of stuff, I know that everything on Facebook is correct. But we, you know, that's just when you all get calls. I know you all have gotten calls from people and you respond and you get tagged, but, you know, for somebody to say we have a no pursuit policy hurts the people of Shepherdsville. It makes our job harder. We do have a pursuit policy. Is it more restrictive than what I came into? Yes. However, the policy we have now is the same that Mount Washington has, it's the same that Hillview has, it's the same that E-Town has, it's the same that J-Town, the same that St. Matthews, and unless they've changed it recently, it's the same as Louisville Metro Police Department. So to single us out that we've gone off the rails and done something different is just false or a lie. We are now in lockstep with every other agency around here, doing what is basically best practices, and I'll stand behind that until I'm here. So, and like I said, if y'all have any more questions, I'm trying to put something together a little bit more to send out, so when y'all do get the questions, that you all be able to answer. This is based on what we do, and that's why we do the way we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think it's a good idea to give us something that we can use to respond to people. I want to thank you for coming up and talking about this. I saw the things on there. I did not respond to them. Number one, I know that we don't know the whole story of what happened and why the chases, and I do like the restriction on the chases, because we had, when we didn't have those things, and we had officers going out and chasing into other counties for another county's original pursuit. And then our guys got in accidents and tore up our cars. Our officers got injured, and it wasn't even our original pursuit. That's costing our citizens their money for this, endangering other lives and endangering our officers' lives. And I agree with, there needs to be certain reasons for pursuit, because we do not need to be endangering everybody. And I think the citizens don't understand that, and they need to understand what our rules are, so they can get a better understanding why we don't do this. It's very important that we don't just chase every living thing that goes on and endanger other lives.
I want to add this because this is important. So for some of you folks might know who he is, George Rodman. Okay, George Rodman went to school with me. He lost his son in a West End traffic pursuit, okay? So people need to understand, there's two things. We're obviously not going to put our officers in that kind of danger, depending on the severity. As Chief mentioned, there are 20 violent crimes that we will pursue. We're not telling the gangsters that. We ain't gonna say nothing in this meeting like that. We're just gonna let you know we have a pursuit policy, and you'll find out which we'll do. That, and the second thing is, we wouldn't actually disclose that, for the fact is, then you're just allowing them to know the game plan. Okay, so you gotta be careful with that piece. And then the other piece is, if in fact something happens, the city is liable for that. So for all the people who wanna talk about chasing somebody for a candy bar, okay, you're not gonna do that. Okay, that's not, and we live in a different world today. We wanna keep people safe. We'll make the right decision. We have technology, we'll catch up with them. And we've caught a few of them here in our community. We can't disclose that piece either. You know, we just wanna let you know as far as the details, we're not gonna tell you. But we wanna make sure you know that these guys are out on the streets all the time, looking for this. And any help that we get from neighbors, really appreciate that. Helps the officers do a better job in keeping us safe. And Bonnie, when they're chasing that way, we might have something that we really need one of our officers and in our community.
That's right.
Okay? So I think it's important, Chief, that's why I wanted you to bring it up. I think it's important for everybody here, this goes for everybody that's, you know, like I said, even watching this program, is to make sure that you understand that when in doubt, reach out. Reach out to the fire chief or reach out to police. They know that business much more than I know it or any in this council. Bonnie, I think you're right. We'll actually get something for folks out there.
For what it's worth, I addressed one of those comments.
You did.
Because somebody tagged me and because you and I had this conversation a year ago and you showed me the policy and I said, listen, they chase people. It's not, there's this perception that they're not allowed to chase, they're not allowed to pursue criminals and, the mayor and the council have tied all their hands. And I said, I basically told them, there is a pursuit policy. They are allowed to, but, that decision to break off was probably made at the street level by either the officer involved or the first line supervisor.
Well, I did want to get into a more long drawn out, put it all together, but something Bonnie said, I'd like to address too, and along those lines is, for the people that don't know, if there is a pursuit involving our officers, it doesn't matter whether it's the officer pursuing the vehicle, the acting sergeant, the sergeant, commanding officer that's listening on the radio, anybody can terminate that pursuit. And once that pursuit is terminated, there's no questions asked after that. That's the way the policy's set up. We aren't there. When all this occurred at 1 o'clock the other night, most of us were at home in bed or watching TV. You're talking to some officers that were required to make a split-second decision that could have life and death consequences, and we're not gonna second guess them. I'm not gonna second guess them. Whatever they do is fine with me. Bonnie, one of your points, and I'll end with this, and like I said, it's just we changed the policy slightly after we looked at what had happened before. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong, it's different. And we changed the policy, but one of the reasons, my first 2 weeks here, we were audited by League of Cities. When they brought the paperwork in and we started checking, there had been 36 pursuits the previous year. Of those 36, nearly half were from other Bullitt County agencies that pushed them towards Shepherdsville, and they terminated because it violated their policies or they were deemed to be too dangerous. Now, why is the city of Shepherdsville taking on the liability for nearly half their pursuits for other agencies that are violating theirs? I can't understand that. I can't make sense of it. And part of this is being a good steward. My job, the mayor's and the city council, is being good stewards with the taxpayers' money. We're putting everybody in this city on the hook for something going wrong that's not even occurring in Shepherdsville, and I won't and can't do that. And that's some of what led into this. So, and for those, the final thing I said, I know the final thing. This year so far, we've had 12 pursuits with the Shepherdsville Police Department, so we still pursue people for things. And after having said all that, and I will just add that I wish all of y'all happy Thanksgiving and have a blessed season. Okay?
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank
Chief,
you.
thank you for meeting with me and Faith today.
Yes.
And talking with us.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it. We
Yeah.
both
Like I
do.
said, it's never to try to call people out or do anything, it's just we need
Yeah.
to make sure you all understand when you all get these calls
Right.
or
Yes,
constituents
thank
calling,
you.
because I think once it's explained to people, it makes sense and they can understand that.
Yeah.
And that's all.
And that's for
we're-
all of you. I mean, anytime you need
Yeah.
something, I know both chiefs have been willing to answer any questions. Thank you, Chief.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving to you too.
Okay.
Can I call you at 3 a.m.?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Doesn't mean he'll answer.
Council, I don't, in case you're not aware, in 2020, our state legislature passed a statute that required all police departments to submit a written pursuit and termination policy. And it was, actually they called it Jill's Law, and it came about because an innocent bystander got killed in a crash. And the purpose of the bill was literally to kind of prevent those from happening and to kind of slow down. And so in the statute, there are certain things that they are supposed to consider, such as how dangerous is the person you're chasing outside of the chase, right? Outside of the chase, how dangerous are they to the general public? All things like weather conditions. How well does the officer know the area they're getting ready to go into? If we've got a Shepherdsville police officer going into Jeffersonville, Indiana, or going into even Louisville, if he doesn't know that area, he's putting people at greater risk because he does not know those roads. He doesn't know where a turn is coming. And he's not probably traveling 50 miles an hour. So,
He's traveling very fast, maybe low-lit areas.
you know, and time of day, traffic, as I said, weather, all kinds of things they're supposed to factor in based on the state law. So that was not present prior to 2020. And so I think why we've seen this shift is because we've kind of, for one, the law's changed, and our department is now catching up with the statutory regulations. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that there is a statute out there that says, hey, when you're in your pursuit and termination, you are supposed to, and these aren't limited, you can, this isn't limited, like, it's not an exhaustive list, but these are the things that they expect the police officers to take into consideration. And so, I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that as well, so that when you do hear about what they do and why, you realize it's not just something that they made up, that it's in part because of what our state legislatures have done.
Yep.
So, just want to let you guys know that, and as well as the public, so.
All right. All right, thank you, Ms. Catherine. All right, so we obviously have Brenda back. Brenda, you have any insights, updates on the cats? or any-
No, it's been too crazy for me.
Yeah, a lot going on. Anyway, I talked to Tom. Tom, obviously, we've got things working in the industrial park. They're starting that piece now. They're working on that. The filler was not really good in the places they did in there, so they're having to do that first. It's gonna be, he says it's gonna be less than what we anticipated. It was pretty expensive to start with, but then they're also gonna include some other spots there. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, I know you two are working on that, so once you guys get that list, we'll get all together and we'll get it all knocked out. So I appreciate your work on that as well.
with Tom after later.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. I like it. I like it. All right. So with that said, I've got council members with some insights here. Miss Paula?
I don't have it.
Well, welcome to the civil
Yeah,
service.
thanks.
Glad to have you there. Glad to have you there. Mike?
Nothing this evening.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mike. Miss Faith?
Nothing.
All right. Miss Jennifer?
I'm good.
All right. Thumbs up. Brad? Oh, yeah. What you got?
Just one thing, so we mentioned getting into the zoning classification type stuff, so it just so happened, like after the last meeting, I got in on one of these KLC webinars, and it was titled Legalizing Strong Communities, but a lot of what they talked about were zoning regulations. He said, you know, as a legislative body member, you probably have an idea of how you want your community to look and how you want to develop, but, you know, you're probably hamstrung by, you know, zoning regulations that are 40 or 50 years old. And I'm like, oh, he's speaking into my soul here. So, but I jotted down a lot of notes, and there was a lot of good information about how zoning regulations should look. It's not just for the legislative body as far as decision making, but it also needs to be good for the public. You know, when somebody comes in wanting to do something with their property, there should be a very easily streamlined process, very easy to understand regulations and about how they go about that process and make it as quick and painless as possible. So, but there was a lot of information in there that good fodder for thought, and so, you know, something we can use moving forward as we start looking into this more, so.
Yeah, and I agree with you, making it seamless. For a lot of folks, what's happening is the business world is actually doing it to them, right? And then you have a lot of folks that have property here for a long time, and the kids don't want it anymore, right? And so there's kind of always that, and then, but that business side is moving the needle. We just need to make sure we tell the needle it goes where we need to go. Because if you're looking at the city today, if you look at the planning and zoning, it's an opportunity for us in the way some things have happened. I'm just leaving it nicely when I say that, because it is a challenge when you look at some of the formats of the way things have actually been designed in the city. It doesn't fit the traffic at all, especially knowing that we have a two-lane road that's very busy, that doesn't have the access to get in and out. So we have things like that we're challenged with.
Right, it's hard to have a 2024 vision for your city when you're using zoning regulations from 1987.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, the comprehensive plan, I think, has some value. I don't know that it's where it needs to be, but I mean, it's obviously at least an attempt from the planning and zoning to make some things. But I think we still stay in charge of it here. We talk about that, Bonnie, you were making that comment. Bonnie, what would you like to add to this?
Are you ready for me for tonight? Are you done?
oh, yes.
Can I just add one thing to his real quick?
Yes.
Hey, guys, I'm telling you, he did a webinar, I've done like 5 of them, they're great. So
They are.
I was just going out to the KLC website and going to their events and just going through each month. They've got multiple ones each month and they're really informative, so,
Well, good.
yeah.
KFC does a good job for us. I know we're all gonna be going in January, but, I think it's really cool. Yeah. Oh, Miss Bonnie, we're ready for you now.
All right.
Right.
I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Remember, all the people out there have struggled with holidays at this time of year. Suicide rates are higher. People are lonely. If you know somebody who doesn't have anybody to go to Thanksgiving to, invite them. Make sure that they're all good. Thank you to the fire department and police department for all that you all do, for your sacrifices every day. We appreciate that. That's all I have.
Well, I want to add that for Bonnie. First of all, we do want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Got a lot going on here. I know we have one more meeting, but kind of going to Bonnie's point, we have a bounty of hope that we talked about. If you guys know, folks, on Christmas Day, we actually make about 450 meals. We've been doing it for 16 years. And we want to make sure that folks that don't have anybody, Bonnie, that's a great thing. We just take a couple meals. We'll have plenty. Grab a couple meals and maybe get to a neighbor that doesn't have anybody come in and see them during the holidays. So that'd be a great thing to do. We'll bring it up again on the 9th, our next meeting. But anyway, for everybody here, first of all, happy Thanksgiving to you and your families. Be safe. Holidays are always a crazy time too. And I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
And the second,
My second.
oh, man.
Hey, Hollis, got it in there.
You just,
Bonnie,
No opposition.
Brad,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Faith,
Yes.
given up the
Mike.
fight.
Yes.
Paula.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you all for coming out tonight.